All right. Hello again. Thank you for joining us for UNC Asheville's Q&A session with Housing and Dining Services. My name is Flo Jacques. I am an admissions counselor here at UNC Asheville. I do want to remind our audience that this is a webinar, so we cannot see or hear you. If you have questions during the panel, I encourage you to please type them in the Q&A box, and we will answer those along the way. All right. Yes, I see some people mentioning where they're coming from. We've got Connecticut, Virginia, New York, Matthews, North Carolina, Greensboro, Westchester, Pennsylvania. Welcome, welcome. We're all over the country today. Atlanta, Georgia, Waxhaw, North Carolina, Charlotte, Warrenton, Virginia. Awesome, awesome. Oh my, right here in our backyard, Asheville, North Carolina. Love that. Hendersonville, also Western North Carolina. Toronto, Canada. I love that. Amazing, amazing. Okay, we've got more than one Brooklyn in the house. Apex, North Carolina, Wilmington, more students from the Triangle. Love to see that. Miami, Florida. Awesome, awesome. Fairview, North Carolina. Excellent. More Western North Carolinians. All right. Norfolk, Virginia. More Miami. California. Awesome. Durham, NC. Bull City. I love it. I'm from Durham. I live in Durham. I'm regional. So right here in East Durham. So I love to see Durham representing. All right, and Weaverville, North Carolina. Did I say Charlotte and Atlanta? I did. Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing where you are all tuning from. I love to see the broad range of students coming from all over the country. Tonight, this evening, we have staff members from both housing and dining to answer all of your questions and concerns. This is round 2 of housing and dining, as this is the most important part of the college experience, right? Or is it the academics? Not sure yet. But let's have the panelists introduce themselves. Volley, would you start us off?
Good evening, Flo, and good evening, everyone. My name is Volley Barmel. I'm the Director of Housing and Residence Life here at UNC Asheville. I've been here 22 years. This is my 23rd year, so obviously I love it. I think it's an incredible place, and excited that you all are going to be joining us as Bulldogs, and happy to answer any housing questions tonight, and just to give you an overview. And look forward to getting to know you more.
Chantal.
Hi, I'm Chantal Fortin. I am the Sustainability and Marketing Coordinator for Dining. So I look forward to answering any questions that you have about our dining program.
Amazing. So the housing application did open up as of February 15th. Just a little over 2 months ago. So if you have not registered for housing, you can do so in your OnePort portal. We do have a series of questions submitted by the students tonight. So we'll start off from there, what was submitted when students registered, but along the way, feel free to ask other questions that have not been asked yet if you had not had a chance to submit those questions. All right. Our first question. When is the housing selection process?
So as you just said, Flo, we're kind of in it now. The application part is the first thing that students can do. So once you're admitted as an incoming student, we encourage you to go ahead and apply for housing. Hopefully most of you have already done that. And then once you've applied for housing, that's the only thing you can do up until the summer. And after Embark orientation, so at the end of June, 1st of July, you will get an email from our office with when your selection time is. And that is when you go on and actually select your housing. UNC Asheville handles incoming student housing a little different than some schools. and that we do not place you. We do not assign you to a room. We do not assign you roommates. You select that yourself. That's one of our philosophies is, if the residence halls are supposed to be your home, which we hope they are, we want to give you choices in that. That's something that's very important to all of us in our homes. And so you have a choice of where you live, who you live with, all of those things. There is a step-by-step tutorial on our website where there's a YouTube video that you can watch, and it'll show you kind of step-by-step how the process works. It's just like picking seats at a concert. You remember concerts, those things we used to go to 10 or 15 years ago. No, it hasn't been that long, but sometimes it feels like that. But seats on an airline, concerts, ball games, all of those things where you select your seat, select your location. That's the way the housing selection process works. And that will open again at the end of June, 1st of July.
Awesome. For students traveling during the room selection period, will it be too late when they plan to choose their home or their room in the last week of July?
No, and you said it right. It's their home. That was good. No, it doesn't. Their selections, once your selection time opens, it does not close until the 1st of August. So you can select your room at any point during that period. Obviously, the longer you wait, the less selection you're going to have as other people select their room. But we do not close. There'll be housing for everybody available. And there are probably, there'll be this year, usually there are 20, 25 students that just never select their housing. They just say, I don't care where I live. I just want to be randomly placed. And so for those students, we will use their application and we will try to make the best assignment possible for those students at the end. So you will be able to select up until the first week of August. And if you don't select, then we will select for you.
Excellent. Is it possible to get a single room as a freshman? That is the question of the century.
It is. We've heard a lot about that question at admitted student days and open houses. And even as I've been doing tours, in-person tours and virtual tours. And the answer to that is yes. There are first-year students who live in single rooms, and there will be first-year students next year who select into single rooms. However, if all 680, 700 of our incoming students all tried to select into a single room, obviously that's not possible. So it is very much based on what's available. The earlier you select, the more likely chance you have of there being a single room available. And how do you select early? It's based on when you apply. So the earlier you apply for housing, the earlier you're able to select. One thing to keep in mind with our residence halls is no matter where you live, no matter which residence hall you live in, we do not have any hall bathrooms. All of our residence halls are suite style. So a lot of times students, it's not that they really want their single bedroom. They just don't want to be sharing a bathroom with a lot of other people. And if that's the case, you don't have to worry about that. Even if you're in a suite, the most you'd be sharing a restroom with is 3 or 4 other students. And so, again, some students will get single rooms, but there's not enough for everybody. So some students will live in double rooms. And there is obviously, the longer you stay on campus, there's more likelihood of you getting into a single room if that's what you choose to do.
All righty. Let's jump over and ask a couple questions about dining, just to balance it out here. So do students have to sign up for a meal plan at the same time they sign up for a room?
Yes, so you will sign up. If you don't select a different meal plan, you will automatically be defaulted to the 21, which is the higher tier. So you want to make sure that you select it.
All right. And what are the meal plans? Do they cover 3 meals a day?
So we have 5 different tiers of meal plans. They are all the same cost. We break it down. So if you are a 3-meal-a-day person, you do want to stick with the 21 meals. And then you also get $75 in declining balance, which you can use at our retail locations if you want a snack or a coffee or something quick. The 14 meal is more of a 2-meal-a-day eater. So if you think you're gonna like eat off campus here and there, then do the 14. All of these can be seen on the dineoncampus.com/UNCA, and you can see all of the options. It does go down in tiers. All of them roll over from week to week, but we do have a 200 meal that is a semester, and you get $300 in DB. I would just caution you to be very mindful of how you eat with that one, because a lot of people do run out, because 200 meals can go pretty quick.
All right. All right, let's ask another question about housing. Can you provide a thorough explanation of the housing selection process? Explain the process for living and learning communities precisely.
So again, the room selection process is very similar to how you would select other things like ball games or concert seats. Literally, when you go in, it will ask you which residence hall do you want to live in, and you will hover over a campus map, and you will see buildings that are highlighted in green. That means there's available spaces in those buildings. You may see a building that's highlighted in red, and if that's the case, that means there are no available spaces in that building. Or in the case of it being the Woods or Governor's Village, those buildings are not open to first-year students. So once you select the building, say you select Founders Hall, once you select Founders Hall, then you will see a close-up of the building with each of the floors. Founders Hall has 7 floors, and you'll see each one of the floors highlighted. Again, some of those floors will be highlighted green, which means there's available spaces on that floor. Some may be highlighted red, which means there are no available spaces on that floor. So the 7th floor of Founders is one of our most popular floors. So say you want to be on the 7th floor of Founders so you can see the Grove Park Inn, beautiful mountain views. And so then you click on the 7th floor. It will then take you to a floor plan of the 7th floor of Founders, and it'll show you all of the rooms on the 7th floor. Again, some are green, some are red, and you pick the ones that are green that have a bed space available in them. That's how you select your room. For the residential living, residential learning communities, the RLCs, formerly known as Living Learning Communities, LLCs, the way the selection works in those is very similar. The only thing is that the options are limited because, for example, if you're in the engineering living learning community, that living learning community is in Ponder Hall on the 3rd floor. So when you go to select a room as part of that RLC, the only floor that you will be able to see available spaces on is the 3rd floor of Ponder Hall. So you still select your bedroom, you still select your bed space, you still would select a possible roommate or suite mates, but your choices are limited to where that residential learning community is.
Awesome. All right. And so how are roommates paired exactly? I think you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier with the housing profile that they'll submit, but can you dive a little bit deeper into that?
So there's a few different things that happen with that. A lot of times, every year, students, contact us, contact admissions. I don't know anybody at UNC Asheville. I'm never going to meet anybody. I'm not going to have any clue who to live with. And we hear that from incoming students quite frequently. Then, however, over the course of admitted student days, over the course of the admissions Instagram page, over open houses, over Embark in the summer, most students begin to meet people that they want to live with. And so you can actually form a roommate group, and you can select the other people that you want to live with. And then one of you can assign your entire roommate group to a suite or to a room. So that's one way that it happens. There may be somebody that you're coming that is from your high school or from your hometown. There may be another student athlete that you know, or whatever the case may be. And you can go ahead and put yourself in a roommate group with them. So that's one way it happens. Another way students find roommates is during housing selection. In that process I was just talking about, once you go to the floor that you want to live on and you hover over bed spaces, you'll be able to see, like in the double rooms, you'll be able to see 2 bed spaces. And you may see a room that has 1 green bed space, which means it's available, and 1 red bed space, which means it's already taken. If you hover over that taken bed space, you'll be able to see how the student who's living in that space answered their roommate profile, how they answered the questions, what they disclosed about themselves, what type of roommate they're looking for, and that scenario. The final thing that we have that we are launching actually this summer is a platform called My College Roomie. And it is very similar to a social media platform, but it is separate from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all the social media platforms that you may be on now, in that it's something that you create a profile, and then you would give other incoming students access to your profile if you chose to do so. So they would not be able to, a lot of times we hear of students who research other students on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. The platform that we use is a little different in that your information would only be available to those students that you make it available to. And so we are hoping that that will also give students another opportunity to match and meet roommates. I still believe the best way to meet roommates is in person. That's why Embark, which happens for 2 weeks in June, that's why that is so critical, a critical time. We see every year students, again, come to Embark, don't know anybody, I'm never going to meet anybody. And after a day and a half of being here, they've met the person they want to be their roommate. It happens every year. So don't worry right now if you don't have a clue who you're going to live with. Don't worry if you don't know where you're going to live. It will work itself out, and it does every year. So rest assured that you'll be fine.
All right, let's talk a little bit about dining. One student asked, how do you apply for a meal plan? I think we alluded to that a little bit about it being alongside the housing application, but Chantal, would you mind going a little bit more in detail for that student?
So as far as I know, it's selected as when you're selecting your housing. So you would do it all through the housing portal. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty new to campus, but I believe that is how you do that.
Yes, when students are submitting their housing application, there's going to be a portion to answer what meal plan you would like. And you've got a couple options. You can actually take a look on our website to decide if you would like which meal plan you would like. They're all the same price. Every student pays the same cost. You get to choose you get to choose which meal plan you want, essentially. And so like we said, there's a default option. And so you're able to, if you don't know exactly which one you want, you do have the first 3 days of the semester, I believe it is,
yes,
to, test it out and realize, is 21 meals okay, or is 14 meals a week okay? All right. So hopefully that answers that for the student. Our next question, a little bit more detailed here. How does one sign up for a 4-person suite? For example, if they have 3 people already, can you sign up for a suite and then just have the 4th person randomly assigned to make it 4?
Yes, great question. Absolutely. And we see that a lot, especially where there's 2 students that will assign themselves into a suite, and then 2 other students will come in. But it works the same way if you're in a 4-person suite and you've got a roommate group of 3 people. You can either find a suite that already has 1 person in it and you can join them, or you select a suite and then 1 random person will join you later. Or you may meet somebody later and you say, hey, we've already got a suite, come join us, in this suite. The same is true for 6-person suites. We do have some 6-person suites on campus. And so if you have a roommate group of 4 or 5 people, it would work the same way.
All right, awesome. And follow up to that, for students that are in single rooms, will they too have Suitemates?
Yes, all of our residence halls are suite style. Even the single rooms, we do not have any rooms where there's single bedrooms and private bathrooms and just don't share a space with anybody else. Again, all of the even the research that's now coming out kind of post-pandemic or mid-pandemic is still showing that students are most successful in a college environment when they have roommates or suite mates. And so we're thankful that I'm thankful we don't have hall bathrooms because I know what that was like as an undergrad trying to use a shower facility with my 18 closest friends, and that wasn't always the funnest thing to do. And so you don't have to worry about that here, but it is good to have suite mates that you can interact with even if you're in a single bedroom.
Yep. And just to reiterate that again, because we did have another question about if I have a single room, do I get a private bathroom? There are no private bathrooms. You'll share a bathroom even if you have a single room with a couple other students. All right. Typically it's about 2 or 3 students, it's not common for it to be a lot. So how does one pull in a friend to be their roommate or suite mate?
So again, that's part of the housing application and housing selection process. There is a place as you're going through that tutorial video, part of that talks about the roommate groups and how to join the roommate groups. And so I would encourage you to go on the housing site, housing.unca.edu. There's a tab that literally says apply for housing. And if you click on that, it'll take you to the housing process for incoming students. And that's where you can find that video tutorial. But literally the adding somebody to your roommate group works very similar to like a follow request or a friend request. You would add somebody into your friend group. They would get a pin, you would have a pin, and they would just confirm that they want to be in your roommate group. Or if they tried to join your group first, then they would have to enter a pin that you give them, confirming that you're okay with them joining your group.
All right. A student did ask, I looked at the videos online, but am still wondering how to select the best dorm for me. What are some recommendations you'd provide for freshmen looking to select a dorm?
One of the great things, again, about UNC Asheville is all of our residence halls are unique. We don't have cookie cutter residence halls where all of them are the same. They're very unique. If you're someone who's looking for a really social and active environment where students are kind of visiting each other and there's guests coming over into the building a lot, there's always a lot of activity, then Founders Hall or Mills Hall are typically the residence halls that you're going to thrive in. Those buildings are right next to Highsmith Student Center. They're very close to the main dining hall, very close to the quad. So there's just a lot of activity around those buildings. If that really excites you, then great. If that's something an environment that you just say that's not for me, then likely Westridge or Southridge would probably be a better environment for you. Westridge and Southridge are a little bit further removed from the main part of campus. Students that live there really like being able to kind of leave the heart of campus and go to their home kind of away down in a beautiful wooded setting. And it's a 6-minute walk instead of a 3-minute walk. So it's not a lot farther, but it is a little bit further, and it's just a little bit quieter environment. So it really depends on what you're looking for. All of the amenities are the same, whether you live in Westridge, Founders, Mills, Ponder, Governor's Hall, all of the amenities are pretty much the same. You're going to have similar furniture, laundry rooms, kitchens, business centers, all of those things in your residence hall, Wi-Fi, expanded cable, streaming cable, all of those type of amenities are the same. It really just depends on the personality, your personality, what you're looking for out of a housing experience. Something that I've continued to do, if you're interested, anybody on this call, if you would like to set up a virtual tour or an in-person tour, if you're in the area, if you're close by, you can contact our office. You can email reslife@unca.edu, and I'll be happy to do a virtual tour with you if that works better for you and your family, or I'll do an in-person tour with you. And that's true as we go into the summer, as you start thinking about, where you're going to live. I'm happy to do that. That's worked really well throughout the pandemic. And so that's something we're continuing to do.
Awesome. What can I bring a cat if she's my support animal? If so, how do I register the cat with the university?
Flo, you can always bring your cat anytime you want to. No, the emotional support animal registration process, accommodation process is through the Office of Academic Accessibility. So that website is accessibility.unca.edu. And on there, you'll see a tab for residential accommodations. I think actually you click on students and then it's residential accommodations. And that's where you register or apply to register your ESA, your emotional support animal, if you're bringing one for that reason. That's also how you would register a service animal. And there's the details about what all that entails on campus. If you, outside of that, the residence halls, the only pets that are allowed in the residence halls outside of service animals or emotional support animals are animals, goldfish that can stay underwater 24/7 in a 10-gallon tank or less. Those are the only other pets currently that are allowed in the residence halls.
All right. So questions about dining. Can I use the meal plan to buy coffee at the coffee shop?
Yes, so you would actually use your declining balance, and declining balance is the extra money that is when you pick your plan, you'll see different amounts, and that would be what you would use. If you want to add more at any time, you can always add more, or you can pay with credit. We do not accept cash at the moment.
Okay. And how about other other locations? Can I use the meal plan there?
Yes, so we have 5 different locations on campus, and then the coffee shop as well. And you can use your meal plan, or we have a main dining hall. That would be where you would use a meal swipe. But if you don't want to eat at the dining hall that day, you would use a meal equivalency, and at each retail location, there are meal equivalencies. So there'll be certain meals that you can use a swipe for.
Awesome. Can I use a credit card or a debit card to purchase at the food locations?
Yes.
All right. So I've gone through the questions that we had pre-registered. So I'm going to switch over to some of the questions that we've just got in the chat box and the Q&A box. So if you haven't had your question answered yet, don't worry, we're just getting to that. And so we've got a mix here. So I'm going to go in the order of which we received them. All right. So how does UNCA accommodate gluten allergies, and are there still dining options?
Yes, so we denote everything that has gluten. We, in Brown Dining Hall especially, we have little tags that denotes gluten, but it does not mean that it is gluten-free. We can't guarantee that anything will be gluten-free in the dining hall. In the retail locations, if it says gluten-free on a packaged item, that would be how you would get that. We do have access to a dietitian. If it is something that is more serious, we will hook you up with the dietitian.
Yep. And I will definitely vouch for our dining hall, as I attended UNC Asheville, and our dining hall is very accommodating in a lot of ways. So lots of meal options, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, meat eater like me, lots of options. All right. What if you've already filled out your housing application and later on find your group of suitemates? Can you still make a group?
Yes, you can edit it, change it, preferences, roommate groups. It's completely changeable at any point.
All right. And how many dining options are there at UNC Asheville?
We have 6 different locations. We have Brown Dining Hall, which is our main dining hall. That will be the all you care to eat. It has a variety, like Flo said. And then we have Highsmith at Highsmith Union, and that is a build your own burgers, Tex-Mex, and pizza. We have the Down Under, which is pizza and sandwiches, and kind of like a little convenience store if you're looking for like mac and cheese or something like that, something quick. And then we have a smoothie and acai bowl place called Smoothie Lab. And we do have a new concept coming, but I am keeping it hush hush right now, but it is something that will be in the Cheryl Center, and it will be a healthy and fun option for you. So stay tuned and we will let you know. You can follow us on UNCA Eats. That's how you get all of the events that we do and any specials that we're running. That's the best way to find out.
Fantastic. When does payment for residence halls and meal plans happen? Should that be?
I don't know the exact billing date. You may know that. I don't know, Flo, but it's not something you have to pay for ahead of time. It's something that goes into your UNC Asheville bill, your UNC Asheville account.
That's correct. Yes. So the student bill comes out in the month of July. I believe the first week of July. If it's not July 1st, it's somewhere in that first week, and it'll comprise of everything, your residence hall, your dining, your tuition, your fees, everything that you need for that one semester. And any aid that you've been awarded in your financial aid package, including scholarships, grants, student loans that you've accepted, etc., will be automatically applied. And so if you have a balance, it'll be the remainder of what has not been paid yet. If you had an excess of funds from your student loans, grants, or scholarships, you will be notified that you will be getting a refund check. So that's essentially how that works. And that payment will be due essentially in like a month after that. So if the bill comes out July 1st, it'll be due that first week of August. And for parents and students who have questions about payment plans, those are also options that you can take part of if you are wanting to get on a monthly payment plan. And you can connect with the student accounts office for that. All right. So a student just asked, what if I don't meet a roommate at orientation? Will the process be random then?
Not necessarily. It can be if the student chooses. I'm always surprised how many students are okay with random roommates, and honestly, some of our best matches are random. But no, as I said earlier, you can use the admissions Instagram page to try to meet someone there. There's always people that are posting about looking for a roommate. You can use when you select, you can look at how students answered the profile, or you can use the My College Roomie app that we'll be launching this summer and select in that way.
All right. Questions about what site you set up your meal plan. I think we've had several around that. So everyone, in order to set up your meal plan selection, you can do that in the housing portal. The same place that you register for housing is the same place you select what meal plan option you want. You just want to make sure that you click the tab that says profile information. You'll be able to select what meal plan you want there. All right. If you have a certified emotional support animal, what are the restrictions? Obviously, some animals are not compatible with other ESAs or are prey animals to other animals. So this student just wants to know what restrictions there might be.
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's a very individualized, and that's why it goes through the Office of Academic Accessibility, and all of that information is on their website. But if it's an animal that is approved as an ESA, as an emotional support animal, then we accommodate it in the residence halls. And predominantly those animals are dogs or cats, but there are other animals that are listed as emotional support animals by our Office of Academic Accessibility. And so we accommodate those as well. I will just any questions about ESAs, I would defer you to that office. Carolyn Ogburn is great. She is the leader of that office, and you can reach out to her with questions. One thing that I will kind of let you all in, it's always great to be kind of the first of, so we've been doing a lot of research into approved animals on campus. And that's something that more and more students are bringing approved animals to campus. So we are in the process this summer of becoming an approved animal friendly campus, where we will have a couple of designated areas is the goal for animals to be, to run and play and stretch their legs and those type things, as well as some other things we're doing on campus, because there are people that really enjoy watching others' animals, but then there's also some students that don't enjoy animals, or that have pet allergies, or allergic to different animals, cats or things like that. So we're working through some of these nuances within the residence halls. Some great things that will be coming out that you all will be a part of, kind of the incoming class that will see these things happen first.
Awesome. All right. And does room selection work the same for those admitted into a community RLC?
Yes, as was stated earlier, the residential living communities, residential learning community, RLCs, are very similar. It's just you have limited place that you're selecting for, because the RLC locations are already predetermined.
All right. And I always see that as a pro, because for students who might be overwhelmed with decision making, that decision's already made for you. I was a part of an LLC my freshman year at UNC Asheville. I was a part of Thrive, and that RLC, now it was called LLC back then, was placed in Southridge. So although I was going to be in Founders Hall with the majority of my other friends that was in that building, I was automatically placed in Southridge, and I loved it, and I had no regrets at all. So definitely makes it easier for you if you don't want to have to choose. Okay, so some repeat questions here, but some slight different questions there. I want a single room, and I have friends who also want singles. To make sure that you're in the same suite, again, just go into the OnePort portal. When you are doing room selections, you're able to put in the student's ID number. So make sure that you have their one card number, and you'll be able to pull them into your group to be in the same suite or room. So that's how that works there. All right. Can suites be co-ed?
So the residence halls have mixed genders, but the suites themselves are all single gender suites. So there could be students who identify as females living right across the hall from students who identify as males, but within the same suite, there are not students who identify as different genders in the same suite.
Right. One moment. A student asked a question about the College Roomie app. When does that app launch? We are beginning to test that on May 15th. We are hoping to launch it on June 1st is our goal. We will communicate that with you all when it launches. But that's our target date, is the 1st of June. All right. Do we fill out roommate questions when we select our dorms? Again, that question will be in the profile questionnaire when you register for housing. So if you have already registered for housing, you'll fill out the profile questionnaire. You have already done that. If you have not registered for housing, you'll complete that questionnaire once you confirm your enrollment deposit, if you haven't, and register for housing. All right. If our roommate selects our room for us, do they also choose our meal plan? Good question. That is a no, since there's a pause.
I can take it. I wasn't sure since that kind of combined housing and dining. So
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Like, you can do
so
that one.
yes, if your student, if a student chooses for the roommate group, they select the meal plans for that group as well. However, keep in mind, you can change your meal plan at any point over the summer or up until 3 days after classes start. So if I'm selecting for 3 other people and I select the wrong thing that one of my suite mates doesn't want, you'll get an email. Even if someone else selects for you, you will get an email that says you have selected into Mills Hall 201, and you have selected the this meal plan, the 14,500 meal plan or whatever. And if you see that and you're like, well, that's the room I wanted, but that's not the meal plan I wanted, then you just go in and change it. It's very, very simple process.
All right. How do meal equivalencies work? Where would I use them?
So meal equivalencies, if you don't want to eat at the all you care to eat dining location, which is Brown Hall, you would use a meal equivalency at any of our retail locations that serve food. They have a meal equivalency option. So if you wanted to go get a burger at Highsmith, or if you wanted to go get a pizza at TDU, and you can go online and check the menu and see what it's like, or we post it on the door. So before you go swipe in, just make sure that you like what you're going into. And if not, then you can go use a meal equivalency at another location. And I haven't brought up the fact that we do have a food truck that comes every Friday as well. And if you would like to eat at the food truck, you can use your declining balance, which is the extra money that's added onto your meal plan.
Fantastic. Okay. How soon will we know when our room or suite is locked in?
You know immediately as soon as you select it. So when you first go on to view what's available, if you click on a room kind of that you're thinking about, you'll get a countdown timer, sometimes 7 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, that you can kind of be thinking about it or talking to your roommate or suite mates, just to see if that's what you want. Once you select and hit submit and finish, you'll get an email within a matter of seconds that says something to the effect of, congratulations, you have selected your room for the fall 2022 term. Here is your room information. Here's your meal plan information. If this is not what you thought you selected, please go back in and change your assignment.
All right. If a roommate choice does not work out, is there a way to change during the semester?
I'm sorry, Flo, was that for me or
Yes,
Donnie?
if a roommate choice does not work out,
okay.
Is there a way to change during the semester?
Sorry, I heard choice and I wasn't sure if it was meal plan or housing. Yes, we have so we have an open room change period that happens about a week after classes start, which is really good too. A lot of times students think they really want to be in meals. That's where they thought they wanted to be, and then they get here and they've met some friends that are in some of their classes that live in Founders, and so now they want to be in Founders, or they want to move over to Westridge and Southridge because they like the woods or whatever. And so we have an open room change period a week after classes start. But even outside of that, again, our goal is that the residence halls are your home, where you're comfortable, where you have choices. And so if you've been in Westridge for a month and for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel like home, and you want to move over to another building, move over to Mills or somewhere else, then you can contact your area director, and they will kind of help facilitate that process for a room change.
All right. If I decide to do random roommates, is there a place where I can go more in depth about myself beyond the questionnaire?
As from the housing office perspective, the two options would be the My College Roomie app or on the admissions kind of Instagram page. That would be the way that you could provide more information than what you put on the application, the housing application. As far as putting information about yourself out there, those would be the ways to do that.
All right. Can you edit your housing application once it's submitted?
Yes.
Okay. Can that's another repeat. Can suites be co-ed? Yes, they can. Just well, suites cannot be co-ed. The halls can be co-ed. All right. And so how does someone accept a Suitemate invite? Do they get an email about it, or will they have to check the housing portal to find out?
So they will get notified, however they set it up in their application. If they set up to receive notification via email, then that's how they would receive it. Volley has invited you to join his roommate group, or Volley has tried to join your roommate group. That's how you would be notified.
Gotcha. Does Gardner Hall have single style suites? I think that's where the transfer students will be. Just want to make sure.
So we have transfer students in several of our residence halls, but the transfer living community, the TLC, or the transfer residential learning community, is in Gardner Hall, and Gardner is set up with single rooms in suite style. So there are 4 single rooms in each suite. So you have 4 single rooms, a small common area, and a bathroom that those 4 students share.
Okay. And what dorms have loftable beds?
All of the residence halls have loftable beds. Some of the residence halls, like Mills Hall, for example, because the bedrooms there are smaller, the beds are already fully lofted when students arrive, and then students can request to have those lowered if they choose to. But most students prefer to have them fully lofted because it makes the most of the floor space. Other residence halls like Founders Hall, where the bedrooms are a little bit larger, those beds are not fully lofted. They're about medium loft height, and students can request to have us loft those all the way up. But the bottom line to the answer to the question is all of the residence halls have loftable beds.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Mills Hall, do they have 2 fridges for both rooms or just one in the common space?
The micro fridge that's provided in the residence halls is in the bedrooms, except for Mills. And in Mills, it is a much larger fridge and freezer, and it is in the living room for all 4 students to share. That was a change we made a few years ago based on student input because of the size of the Mills bedrooms. They said that that would be something that could easily be put out in the living room, as long as it was a larger unit for all 4 students to share. So that's the only place that the micro fridges are not in the individual bedrooms.
Gotcha. Question about if a student is not happy with the roommate they receive, steps a student can take in the unfortunate case of something uncomfortable happening. I always say, as a former RA of 3 years, that's what we're here for. If you have any questions, as a specific scenario of what happened with a roommate or suite mate and you would like to move or discuss it, connect with your RA and we'll help sort through the situation. If it's fixable, if it's not, we are the resource to get you into a more safer or more comfortable situation. All right, so just keep in mind your RA is your best friend. All right, so a student said, I'm sure I already applied for housing, but have no memory of being asked which meal plan that I want to do. So I'm confused if I need to apply again. How do we go back into the portal and select for meal plan if they've already submitted their housing application?
So the meal plan is not part of the housing application. It's part of the selection process. So if you've applied for housing, you would not have seen about meal plan selection. That happens when you select your room. You can always call our office and we can verify, or you can email us and we can verify that you've submitted a housing application. We have students that do that quite regularly just because they want to make sure, and that's fine. But if you just because you didn't see a meal plan selection yet, that doesn't mean you haven't applied.
Yes, awesome. Is there an app to keep up with the meal plan balance?
You will do that on the website. We don't have an app for that.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, when you swipe your student ID card wherever you go, when you get your receipt back, it'll tell you what your balance is. It'll also tell you how many meal plans you have left for the week. And remember, meal equivalencies, which you can use at the dining hall and some other eateries, they replenish every week, and your balance stays the same for the semester. It just declines. Hence the declining balance term. So just that reminder there. Is there a rollover? If I only use 12 meals with the 14 meal plan, do the 2 roll over the next week?
No, they do not roll over the next week.
All right. Are there multiple vegetarian food options in the dining halls?
So lucky for you, yes, because I am a vegetarian and I eat on campus every day, and I am super happy with the selection. And today we actually had a pretty full plant-based menu. So we do events around plant-based options as well. So we take care of our vegans and vegetarians very well.
Awesome. Do we choose a new or different dining plan each semester?
Oh gosh.
You can. It rolls over from semester to semester, but you can change it each semester until the 3rd day of class. So if from year to year, you have to choose a new meal plan because you're selecting your new housing. With the dining, if you're fine with the one you had in the fall, you don't need to do anything for the spring. It stays the same. But if you want to change it, you can.
All right. What counts as a meal?
Is that a trick question? So at Brown Dining Hall, it's all you care to eat. So that would be, you could literally stay in there and grace for like an hour or an hour and a half. Like if you're studying, if you go to a retail location, it's like if you go out to eat at a restaurant, you're going to get like a burger and fries or a pizza, like a personal pan pizza. So there are different meal options depending on what you are interested in.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to say 1 swipe equals a meal. So if you go to the dining hall, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, you swipe once, that's your meal. And it could be 5 different plates of different foods. But if you go to the food court, then there's like specific meals if you're getting a burger and fries, as Chantal mentioned. So just depends. All right. And let's, how can I add declining balance to my plan?
I don't know that. I don't know if you know that.
So you can actually, to add a declining balance to your plan, you can call the dining office and you can make a payment online or over the phone to add a certain amount back. And so typically that's if you run out. I'll tell you guys my little secret. As somebody who attended UNC Asheville, I always did the 7 meals with $600 declining balance. That means I go to the dining hall once a day for 7 days. And then I had $600 for the semester to use at the coffee shops, the pizza and all that sort of stuff. Although I could use that, one of my meal equivalencies for pizza or burgers or whatever, I could also use my declining balance if I ran out of meal equivalencies, right? So that's something that I have always stuck through. I did it for all, I think more like of the 8 semesters, 6 of the 8. So I was very happy and content with it. So just to put that out there, it really depends how often you want to go to the dining hall.
Yeah, our most popular is the 14. That one is the one that is kind of the middle of the road.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, a couple more roommate questions. If you get a set of roommates, but for any reason there's an issue, what does the process for changing roommates look like? So we've touched on this a little bit, but I'll mention the freeze period. So at the beginning of the semester, you're there and there's a 2-week freeze period. After that, then there's a period of time which you can request to change rooms or whatever, and you'll have to explain the scenario, what the concern is, and so there's that opportunity. So once you move in, you're not locked in, and something detrimental does not have to exactly happen for you to feel like you have to move if you're uncomfortable, if that makes sense. All right. Is there a virtual orientation available for international students who are unable to attend Embark orientation in June? Do we know that, Bali?
Yes, it will take place in August, just before pre-orientation. Sarah and I were talking about that just the other day. There's going to be a virtual orientation, kind of a virtual makeup Embark that will happen in August.
All right. Is there a cleaning service? How would you take care of dirty clothes, sheets, etc.?
So the housekeeping in the residence halls, we clean all of the public areas, the hallways, the laundry rooms, the kitchens, stairwells, entrances, all of that. Students are responsible for cleaning everything within their suite, kind of behind their suite door. As far as laundry, there are laundry rooms, at least one laundry room in every residence hall. Some laundry rooms have multiple, some residence halls have multiple laundry rooms. Laundry on campus is, I tell students it's free. I tell parents it's included in the cost of housing. So it's an inclusive laundry service. So you don't have to swipe a card. You don't have to find coins in your couch cushions or anything like that, like I had to do in undergrad. Everything's included. So students, it really encourages kind of healthy behavior because students don't have to save up money to do their laundry. So we find students doing laundry more frequently, which leads to smaller loads of clothes, which is better for the machines and better for the clothes themselves, and better from an energy consumption standpoint. So you can do laundry 2 or 3 times a week. You can do laundry once a week, but students are responsible for their own laundry.
Yes, and you're also responsible for bringing your own toilet paper. See, those are the pros of having your bathroom within your suite. Is there a current list of RLCs? I just posted that in the chat. How do you get placed into an RLC? You will select that when you are registering for housing. I believe there's that question there to decide whether you want to participate in one.
Yes, you do that as part of the application. So that you would pick that when you're applying for housing if you're interested in an RLC. And there is an approval process. If you're interested in an RLC, you would apply for that, and then there is a group of folks, faculty and staff, that kind of review the applications, because we do have limited bed space in the residential learning communities. For example, the transfer living learning community, it has 20 students in it. And so once there's been 20 students that have been selected for that RLC, it is full.
All right. Some questions about options for genderqueer and non-conforming students and trans students. So what is that process like? Options and choosing residence halls?
So again, it's an advantage of being at a school with a smaller residential population. We work with students on an individual basis for any requests similar to those. Tara Hopkins in our office is the point person that students can contact for specific questions. Again, students are selecting their rooms. So we're not placing students, but they're selecting their rooms. But what students can work with Tara on is where they want to be able to see which rooms they select. If that's in a specific building, if that's single rooms, if that's, which gender that is, they want to be able to see to be able to select their rooms. And so Tara will work with students kind of on an individual basis about that.
All All right, so we do have several more questions to go through, but I do want to be mindful of everyone's time as it is 8 o'clock. I'll answer some brief, like very vital questions briefly. And if you are wanting to hang on for me to answer the remaining questions that are coming through, hang in there with us. But the final thing I'll say for those who need to head out now is that move-in does happen August 10th. We've had a lot of questions about that we did not address during this session, precisely because this is housing and dining. And so housing, given that this is the last Q&A with UNCA session of the series, I did want to answer that question because it is very important to know when move-in date is. All right, August 10th. And if you are doing a pre-orientation session, then that will be happening a few days earlier. You'll get emails about which one, depending on which one you registered for. All right. So just wanted to do that there. And so other questions that we can answer here. How do you request to loft beds?
So for any service request you have, whether it's lofting a bed or a sink dripping or air conditioning too cold or heat too hot, whatever it is, you send an email to resmate@unca.edu. All of that information will be provided to you when you move in. There's actually a magnet on your refrigerator in your residence hall room that has that, and you'll be told that when you move in, how to connect with folks to do that. On move-in day, we have several crews that their only job is moving around student furniture. And so when students move in, they realize they want their bed lofted or lowered. They want a bed rail added or removed. They want the desk slid over, whatever the case may be. They submit a request, and within a matter of minutes, literally, there's a crew at your door to take care of that request. It's a very efficient, really good process.
Yep. All right. And questions, just some things I want to mention. Can you post the website for the housing application? Again, you can find that in the portal. If you just go on oneport.unca.edu, once you're logged in, you want to click on campus on the left tab and click housing portal. Once you navigate through that, you can apply for housing. In terms of the meal plan selection, remember, as we mentioned, meal plan selection happens when room selection happens. And that'll happen in the month of July. All right. In a roommate group where one person chooses the roommate's meal plans, okay, we've already answered that. Just making sure, sorry, we had like 100 questions come through, making sure that we don't overlook anything. So again, if you're being pulled into a group, your roommate or your suite mates are not selecting your meal plan for you. All right. What is Embark? Embark is orientation, and those dates you can register for them in the month of June. There's several dates, and that is mandatory. We did have a Q&A with UNCA Student Transition and Parent Programs, which is Embark orientation. All right, we've mentioned that. Do all students in a suite have to, lots of questions about the suite mates and the meal plan. Are there restrictions on lamps and string lights?
Heard string lights. What was the one before that?
Lamps.
So string lights are now permitted in the residence halls. You can find all that information on kind of on the housing website. Frequently asked questions about items to bring and not bring. Lamps are also permitted in the residence halls. The only thing that's not permitted is halogen bulbs as far as lamps go. Those are the bulbs that get really, really hot. And so as long as you're bringing LED bulbs or fluorescent bulbs, those are fine in lamps, and the same with string lights.
All right. How are rooms and roommates assigned for June orientation?
So that is done as students kind of show up. Students for Embark, students are living in Founders Hall in double rooms. And so as students show up, unless students show up and say, hey, I want to live with this person for tonight, it's done basically as students show up, as it is just a one night, kind of an overnight thing. As students show up, they're placed together. So there's no real magic to it. It's just kind of happens there on the spot.
All right. Yes, you can apply for housing today. Go ahead and do that in your OnePort portal. When room selection happens, again, that is mid-July, right, Volley? Is it July 15th or first week of July?
No, it's the first week of July.
Oh, okay.
The emails come out right after the last Embark, which I don't remember the date, but it's around the 4th of July, that week, kind of the week before.
All right. Let's see. I know this isn't directly housing dining, but what are the options in terms of a gym? That's actually pretty related to housing because there are fitness centers in this, of 2 of the housing residence halls.
Yes.
And then 1 in our, so go ahead, Volley.
So we have the Student Recreation Center, which has an incredible fitness center and also group fitness rooms and courts and all kind of, basically anything you would want to do related to wellness is found there. In addition, as Flo mentioned, we have 2 satellite fitness rooms. One is in Governor's Hall and one is in Chestnut Hall, which is over in the woods. And those are open to all resident students. And those are 24/7 fitness rooms. So if you're a student who likes to work out, but doesn't want to walk all the way to the gym to do it, that's kind of funny if you think about it. But if that's the case, we have you covered.
All right. And let's see here. I had one question and bear with me. I'm sorting through questions and getting them out of the way. Is it possible to edit your responses in the profile questionnaire housing once you fill out? That's it. Yes, you can. That's the one I was trying to type to, but yes, you can edit your profile questionnaire responses throughout the semester. It's not definite and confirmed. All right. Let's see here. One of my suite mates identifies as they, he, I identify as she, her. Are we allowed to suite together if we are both okay with it?
So again, if there's specific questions related to gender identity or trans identifying students or non-binary students, contact Tara in our office. We do not ask any student to prove their gender to us. So you can contact Tara and Tara can help kind of students work through the assignment process for specific questions like that.
All right. And I'm about to put some contact information because we're getting questions about who to contact and where, but bear with me as I now go to the questions that we have in the chat. So away from the Q&A with you and CA part.
One thing I'll say about contact information is we try to make everything kind of a one-stop place. So if you send an email to reslife@unca.edu for anything housing related, that's reslife@unca.edu, it will get to the right person. Rather than trying to figure out who to contact for different things, we try to keep it as simple for students and families as possible. So if you email reslife@unca.edu, it will take care of anything housing related. I know there's some other things that Flo's posting, but just from a housing standpoint.
All right, so in the chat I pasted the link to the Office of Academic Accessibility, the link to the RLCs that we offer, and the Embark orientation. So that link for Embark orientation takes you to the dates that you can register for Embark. So, and we had a lot of what is Embark, when is Embark? Embark is orientation, and that is mandatory for all students. And you can register for those there as well. Okay. So I'm a transfer student, so I will be a junior this year. Will I be able to select a single room, or will I be within that incoming freshman status, not able to get into a single room?
So even incoming students, first year students can select into single rooms. So transfer students can live in single rooms, but so can first year students.
All right. How many single rooms are available for the freshman class?
That number changes every day because it's all dependent upon continuing students deciding they're going to transfer, or continuing. I talked to a student today who was in a single room for year-round housing, and they've now decided, due to some other factors, they're going to move to a double room in another residence hall. So it opened up a single room. So there's single rooms that are opening up every day. There's single rooms that are getting taken every day as people are still moving around. Continuing students are still moving around. And even after incoming students begin selecting, we tell students that if you don't get your number one first priority right when your selection time opens, don't give up, because selection stays open the entire month of July, and there's a lot of moving around and switching and things like that take place.
All right. So a student asked, I sent my bio on the UNCA admitted students to Instagram 2 weeks ago. How long does it take for it to get posted? I really want to try and meet people through there. Katie Mayo, if you're still on there, because this was 7:20, if you're still on here, if you want to send your bio to the UNCA admitted students Instagram page, connect with the, send a DM, a private message, and just let them know, and that can come to the forefront. So that's for any student who is trying to get their bio posted in search of a roommate or suite mate. Okay. All right. Do you know how housing would work for, okay, how would we work? Sorry, just sorting through things that we've already answered. Okay, so it's saying that meal plan selection says no access and will be open in March, but it passed already. So again, we said that will happen in July. Is that correct, Volley? Yeah, meal selection happened in July. All right. Okay, so we did have
it happened in March for continuing students.
That makes sense. All right, March for continuing students. Some questions about move-in day and what to expect for the check-in process.
So obviously we will send out more information about the move-in day, specific maps, specific instructions, depending on where you're living. But that I understand that question because it is such an important day. We do it really, really well. So students, when you show up to move in, we're bringing back move-in volunteer help. So we will have faculty and staff here to help you move in. So parents, you literally will pull your cars up to the residence halls. There will be faculty and staff from the university that will greet you. They'll help unload your car. They will whisk it away to the room. You will go park your car, and by the time you get back from parking your car, your items will be moved into the room. And like I said, you'll get specific information about, depending on which building you live in, where exactly you need to come and what time you need to get here. All of that will be sent out once room selection is finalized.
All right. Are there any limitations for TV sizes in the residence halls?
No, I would just check with your roommate or suite mates and make sure they're okay with how big it's going to be, but we do not have any limits for that.
All right. Can we have air fryers in our residence halls?
You cannot have anything that has an open burner or a hot plate, so to speak. Anything that something could fall on and could catch fire on its own, or anything with an open flame are not permitted. That's pretty much gives you a lot of options, but it does limit on some things. If you have specific questions about specific items, reach out to our office and we can tell you specifically. But that's kind of the standard is if a piece of paper could fall on it and it could catch on fire, it's not permitted.
And I did just post the link to the approved and prohibited items in the chat. So access that link and it'll tell you what will be in your room. So what you don't need to bring, microwave, fridge, closet space, window blinds, desk, chair, all that sort of stuff. It tells you what you should be bringing, command strips, towels, pillows, etc., toiletries, and what you should not bring, those deep fryers and halogen lamps, hoverboards, etc., etc. So take a look at that link that I just pasted in the chat if you want to know a little bit more about what you can bring, what you cannot bring. Okay. What floors give you the best views in the Westridge and Southridge halls?
The fourth floor in Westridge probably gives you the best view, depending on what you're wanting to see. On one side of the building, you're looking at kind of the courtyard, and on the other side of the building, you're looking out into the woods. Southridge, same, the third floor, looking at either the botanical gardens on one side or the courtyard on the other side. Again, those are some of the things I get asked a lot about on tours, especially when you start selecting your rooms. You can, I'm thinking about selecting on the fourth floor. Can you give me a tour, a virtual tour, and show me what the view would look like from the fourth floor? And we do that. So generally, the higher up you are, the better the view.
That's true. All right. Well, I believe that was oh, wait, so sorry. I'm so sorry. We almost made it to the end. How many students are accepted into the engineering RLC?
I believe that number this year is 24. And some of those are continuing students, but some of those are incoming students, and I do not know what the breakdown of that is. I'm not on that selection committee, but the total number I believe is 24.
All right. Gotcha. All right. So that was the end of our housing and dining questions. So one did just come in. One moment. Knives are listed on what not to bring. Can you not have a pocket knife on campus?
That would be a question. Pocket knives of certain lengths are permitted on campus. I do not know the ins and outs of the sizes and all that. That would be a question for public safety. But pocket knives are permitted. But obviously larger knives would not. All
right. Wonderful. Okay, so the last two questions I do want to answer, just because again, this is the last of our Q&A with UNCA series, and I want to make sure that students get their questions answered. Overall, those who are still remaining, any questions not answered, reach out to your admissions counselor. We are happy to help, but the cost per semester will be on your bill, and you can pretty much take a look at that on our admissions and financial aid website. So take a look at that there. And then we had two questions come in about getting your password for one port. Your credentials were emailed to you. If you need your credentials again to be re-emailed to you with your ID number and all that stuff to create an account, let us know. If you've already created the account and you just need to reset your password, reach out to the IT department or your admissions counselor, and we will direct you on where to go to reset your one port password. All right. We have made it to the end. Thank you so much to the remaining, like about 30 of us who stayed back over 18 minutes. I really appreciate you. Again, we're here to answer any questions that you might have in the future. We're so glad that you'll be joining the Bulldog family. My email will be pasted in the chat here. As an admissions counselor, I'm happy to answer questions via email or phone calls. And we're here for you, y'all. All right. Thank you for joining us, and go Bulldogs.